There's a phrase all over bars and bathrooms in Texas that sounds simple, but can seriously complicate your life if you don't understand what it really means. Do not blow. I've seen it on posters, koozies, even bathroom mirrors, and I get why it sticks. But in Texas, refusing a breath test isn't the automatic win people think it is. My name is Joseph Ruiz. I'm a criminal defense attorney here in Houston, Texas, and I focus almost exclusively on DWI cases. Today I want to walk you through why breath tests are risky, why defense lawyers have historically advised people not to submit, and this part matters, how the law in Texas has changed so you can make a smarter decision if you're ever pulled over. Let me start with why lawyers ever said don't blow in the first place. A breath test creates a number, a BAC, blood alcohol concentration. And once that number exists, the state will build their entire case around it. That number feels scientific, objective, hard to argue with. But here's what most people don't know. Breathalyzer tests are not perfect. They rely on machines that need proper calibration and maintenance. They rely on officers administering the test correctly, and they assume your body processes alcohol the same way as everyone else's. That's not reality. I've also seen machines that hadn't been properly maintained in months. Also in Texas, the government must show your BAC at the time of driving was 0.08 or higher, not what it was later at the station. Without a breath test, the prosecution is left with subjective evidence. How you looked, how you spoke, how you walked, what the officers thought, and subjective evidence is something a defense attorney can challenge. That's the logic behind refusing. But now let's talk about the part people don't think about. In Texas, refusing a breath test doesn't make the problem disappear, it triggers certain consequences. First, DPS will attempt to suspend your license for 6 months, although we are entitled to an ALR hearing to fight this. Second, the prosecutor is allowed to tell the jury that you refused. They'll argue it shows a consciousness of guilt. And third, and this surprises a lot of people, refusing doesn't necessarily stop the government from getting a chemical test. In many cases, officers will simply get a search warrant for a blood draw. And blood tests can be even more damaging since most people consider them more accurate than a breath test. I've seen situations where somebody refused a breath test thinking they were protecting themselves and ended up with a blood result instead. That's why the advice has changed. Now more and more jurisdictions are allocating resources to obtain blood search warrants whether you like it or not. So does that mean you should always take the breath test? Not necessarily. It really depends on what county your arrest is in. It means you need to understand the trade-offs. Refusing limits immediate evidence but triggers potential penalties, whereas taking the test creates a number but avoids automatic suspension and possible blood warrants. There is no one-size-fits-all answer in Texas anymore. Anyone who tells you otherwise isn't telling you the whole story. In rural counties, the DA's office is less likely to have the resources to obtain a search warrant for a blood draw. In those counties, refusing absolutely makes sense. Not having a chemical test as evidence makes the government's job of proving legal intoxication much more difficult. In huge metro areas like Harris County, where they do blood warrants 24/7, 365, I'd say doing the breath test makes more sense. I'd rather chip away at the accuracy of a breath test than fight a blood result. If you or someone you care about is facing a DWI in Houston or anywhere in Texas, the most important decision isn't what you do on the roadside, but who you talk to next. These cases are technical, the consequences are real, and small details make a huge difference. If you've been arrested for a DWI, call my office, schedule a consultation, and let's walk through your options before the state decides your future for you. And if this video helped you understand Texas DWI laws a little bit better, like, subscribe, and share it because the right information at the right time can change everything.